I was astonished actually because it is actually beautifully written. I mean, really, really beautifully written. I wish I could write like that. So I did think, oh, you must have got, you know, someone who writes for a living the whole time. But I then read that you'd done it yourself. So is that? Did you just keep going back to it and back to it, or did it just flow off the page?
Well, why it took quite a long time was I would actually sit there with a certain period, you know, or whatever I was thinking about time period, and sit there in the time period and let it marinate in my thoughts before I sort of started committing myself to...
Yeah.
Is that how you type? Because that's why it would have taken you 6 years, to be honest.
That's exactly right. 2 years of it. 2 years of it was typing like that.
What I loved is that your mum apparently wasn't shocked by anything that you wrote, but just shocked at the fact that you remembered it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what she said. I can't believe you remembered so much, because I can't believe it either, Mum.
No,
It is actually very frank, totally frank, about the whole sort of American drugs, rock and roll, sex, all that kind of stuff. I'm not quite sure how you ended up. I mean, obviously you're completely clean now, but you don't totally regret all of that, do you?
No, not at all.
No.
I think it'd be pointless. I mean, I wrote some of my best songs in that time period, and you just can't look back on it in any sort of negative way, really.
Right.
I just have to look back on some of my actions and sort of... I've been able to quantify them in the book and talk about them and hopefully put some of the demons to bed or whatever.
But I bet when you look back at it now, Billy, you see things more from your own parents' point of view, because you've become a dad, and there's a very funny bit in the book where your daughter pretends that she's had a fake tattoo and you go mad. Yeah. Now, that obviously is massively hypocritical, but what if she... if you saw behaviour where you thought, oh, my kids are starting to take drugs like I did, how would you feel about that?
Well, I did see a point when she was doing that a little bit, but she sort of grew out of it, and...
But how did you deal with it as a parent?
Well, I wasn't quite sure what they were doing because they were hiding it from me, but I think eventually that was the thing. I think, you know, they grew up sort of seeing the non-romantic side of drugs, really, and I think in lots of ways it's soured them on it. You know, they don't. We grew up with parents who didn't do anything like that. So of course it was very romantic to us. And
That's interesting, then. So you think that... Because I'm a bit of that school of thought, that I think that if you talk openly to your children and don't make such a big thing about it, it's not as cool as if it's forbidden.
Yeah, and I think they knew that at times I wasn't always there for them, and they knew that's why, that some of it was to do with my sort of addictions, you know.
I mean,